Do you have your ID with you?
I just listened to my voicemail.
What'd you hear?
I
Who was
just-
your voicemail?
It's from Lisa Carey, who is my real estate agent, or who I had gone with to find a house. She just said she was driving around town and she heard there was a shooting on Trescott.
Yeah. That's what this is about. I'm sorry you had to hear it that way.
I'm sorry, I didn't know if I should.
It's all right. Just leave it there. Is it still on?
It's right there.
Hey, it's Lisa Carey. It is Friday, and I feel like an idiot doing this, but I just heard that there was a shooting over on Trescott, and I promise I'm not trying to be dramatic or even nosy. I don't know, just checking on you, my friend. I hope all is well. I hope your sweet boys are well, and if there's anything you need, let me know. It just ran a chill down my spine when I heard that there was something going on Trescott. All right, 212-3083. Hope all is well, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.
That's all right. You can stop it. Or does it stop automatically?
It's done.
Okay. Do you have your identification with you? So you never took the last name of Markel?
No.
Adelson. Okay. Wendy with an I. Joe. All right. There was a shooting at your home, or your ex-husband's home, at 2116 Trescott. Okay. Your ex-husband, Daniel, all right, has been taken to the hospital. He's not going to survive.
Oh my God.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I have a message from him this morning. What happened?
Well, before we get into everything, I have to establish where you were and who you were with and so forth.
Okay.
Okay, and then once we've established all that, I can give you more details.
Okay.
Do you understand why I wanted you to come here before I discuss this?
Oh my God.
What if I told you that in one of the most explosive murder cases in American history, the woman at the very center of it all, the woman who may have had the most to gain from her ex-husband's death, has never spent a single day behind bars? What if I told you that while her mother was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison, while her brother sits in a cell serving life plus 60 years, while hitmen, a go-between, and a conspirator have all been locked away, one woman has walked out of every courtroom, every time as a free person? What if I told you that prosecutors themselves labeled her an unindicted co-conspirator? Not a bystander, not a witness, but a co-conspirator, and yet she still walks free. What if I told you that her own mother, sitting in a jail cell, sent her a text message that read, "Your brother protected you for years"? That is the story of Wendi Adelson. And if you think you already know it, stay right here. Because what you are about to hear will make you question everything you thought you understood about this case. Not just a crime, not just a family, but about human nature itself. About how someone can stand in the truth and still leave you wondering what is really hiding beneath the surface. This is Dark Trail Files, and this is the woman at the center of the storm. But before we go any further, I need to ask you something. Right now, before we get into one single detail, if you're the kind of person who needs to know the whole truth, not the surface version, not the sanitized version, but the full, uncomfortable, documented truth that makes you sit back and ask questions nobody else is asking, then this channel is built for you. Hit subscribe. Hit the notification bell. Because every single case we cover on Dark Trail Files is research to the bone. No speculation dressed up as fact. No sensationalism for clicks. just the details that matter, presented in a way that respects your intelligence. This is your community. These are your cases. Welcome to the trail. Now let's walk it. To understand Wendi Adelson, you first have to understand Dan Markel, because this entire story begins and ends with him. Daniel Markel was, by every account, exceptional. He was a Harvard Law School graduate, a celebrated legal scholar, and a professor at Florida State University's College of Law in Tallahassee, Florida. He was the kind of academic who made other academics take notice, writing for prestigious journals, engaging publicly on the biggest questions in criminal law and punishment theory. He was provocative in the best sense of the word, intellectually fearless. But more than any of that, more than the publications, the accolades, the classroom, the people who knew him best always came back to the same thing. He was a devoted father. Those two little boys were everything to him. On the morning of July 18th, 2014, Dan Markel dropped his sons off at preschool, went to the gym, and then drove home to his house on Trescott Drive in the Benton Hills neighborhood of Tallahassee. He pulled into his garage, and that is where someone was waiting for him. 2 shots to the head, at close range, in his own garage, in broad daylight. He was rushed to Tallahassee Memorial Hospital, where he clung to life for hours before passing away the following day, July 19th, 2014. He was 41 years old. A neighbor, hearing the gunfire, called 911 and reported what they saw, a light-colored Toyota Prius driving away from the scene. That single detail would eventually unravel everything. The story of what happened to Dan Markel really begins 2 years before his death. In September 2012, Markel returned from a business trip to find that his wife, Wendi Adelson, had taken the children and moved out. The divorce papers were on the bed. The home had been cleared of her belongings, and money had been moved from their shared accounts. The divorce was finalized in July 2013. On paper, it looked like a resolution. In reality, it was the beginning of something far more bitter. From the moment the divorce proceedings began, one issue eclipsed everything else: relocation. Wendi Adelson wanted to move from Tallahassee to South Florida, where her wealthy family, her parents Donna and Harvey Adelson, and her brother Charlie Adelson, a highly successful periodontist, all resided. She applied for relocation with the children. In June 2013, a family court judge denied her request. The judge ruled that she had not met her burden of proof that the move was in the best interest of the children. That ruling did not sit well with the Adelson family. Not all. Donna Adelson, the matriarch, the woman who would eventually be convicted of orchestrating a murder, sent emails that prosecutors later described as chilling in their intensity. One of those emails referenced the court's ruling with the words, "Jibbers hasn't beaten the Adelson family yet." The Adelson family's collective anger at this man, their frustration, their resentment, was not hidden. It was documented. It was in writing. And Dan Markel was not done either. In 2014, he filed a motion that would have restricted Donna Adelson from having unsupervised access to the children, citing alleged disparaging remarks she had made about their father in front of them. A hearing was scheduled, then continued without a new date. Then on July 18th, 2014, Dan Markel was shot in his garage, and the motion became irrelevant. That timing, the custody battle, the denied relocation, the motion to restrict the grandmother, is what prosecutors would later call the motive. The desperate desire of the Adelson family to remove a man they saw as an obstacle, and to do it permanently. On the afternoon of July 18th, 2014, Wendi Adelson was not home. Tallahassee police officers located her at a local restaurant, where she was having lunch with friends. They drove her to the police station without explaining exactly what had happened. And then they told her, her ex-husband, the father of her children, had been shot. What followed next is captured in footage that would not be publicly released for years. When it finally was, viewers and analysts dissected every second of it. Some saw genuine devastation. Others saw something that made them deeply uncomfortable. The footage you are about to see is from that police interview on the day of the shooting, July 18th, 2014.
Did your ID with you?
I just listened to my voicemail.
What'd you hear? Who was your voicemail?
It's from Lisa Carey, who is my real estate agent, or who I had gone with to find a house. She just said she was driving around town and she heard there was a shooting on Trescott.
Yeah, that's what this is about. I'm sorry you had to hear it that way.
I'm sorry, I didn't know if I should.
It's all right, just leave it there. Is it still on?
It's right there.
Hey, it's Lisa Carey. It is Friday, and I feel like an idiot doing this, but I just heard that there was a shooting over on Trescott, and I promise I'm not trying to be dramatic or even nosy. I don't know, just checking on you, my friend. I hope all is well. I hope your sweet boys are well, and if there's anything you need, let me know. It just ran a chill down my spine when I heard that there was something going on Trescott. All right, 212-3083. Hope all is well, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.
That's all right, you can stop it. Or does it stop automatically?
It's done.
Okay, do you have your identification with you? So you never took the last name of Markel?
No.
Adelson. Okay, Wendy with an I. Joe. All right. There was a shooting at your home, or your ex-husband's home, at 2116 Trescott. Okay. Your ex-husband, Daniel, all right, has been taken to the hospital. He's not going to survive.
Oh my God.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I have a message from him this morning. What happened?
Well, before we get into everything, I have to establish where you were and who you were with and so forth.
Okay.
Okay, and then once we've established all that, I can give you more details.
Okay.
Do you understand why I wanted you to come here before I discuss this?
Oh my God. Oh I'm sorry.
That's okay. No, you have nothing to be sorry about.
I just don't understand. How did this really happen?
Can you let me get over this hump, okay? Can we do that first? All right. Can you tell me what time you left your house this morning?
Yeah, I was there. I didn't leave this morning. I didn't leave until noon.
Okay. And
Oh my God. And I tried to drive up Trescott and I saw that it was blocked.
It was blocked at some point. I'm not sure what time it was
And I
blocked.
just thought, oh, there's maybe some trees down or something. Because sometimes
Oh, you're saying as you drove down which one of the side roads?
when I'm going to a friend's party tonight, and it's a oh my God, what am I even talking about? I needed to buy, it's a stock the shelf engagement party, and so I went to buy bourbon.
Okay.
So I went to drive from my place up Trescott to get to ABC Liquor, and it was blocked, so I just turned around. I was on the phone at the time. I wasn't paying a lot of attention.
Right.
So I just turned around and drove up the other way. I just thought, oh, sometimes when I lived there were electrical things
Okay.
that would happen. I left my house around 12:15 because I thought I'll get the bourbon and then I'll get some gas for the car and I need super glue for one of the boys' toys, and I was trying to do all I can before meeting my two friends at 1.
Okay, who was at your house this morning?
The only person that was at my house this morning was a guy from Best Buy, because my TV was broken and it's under warranty.
Easy for you.
Yeah, I figured.
Okay, a guy from Best Buy was at your house to work on your TV?
I have his name and everything at the house if you want it, because the boys broke the TV, so he gave me a choice of fixing it or getting a new one.
What time did he come to the house?
He called me at around 8. He was probably there until around 10.
Okay. Okay. And then you
and then after he left, I kept working on a paper, and I emailed the paper to a librarian at school to work on some of the citations.
Okay.
And I don't think I talked to anyone else, but I was just working for an hour or so from the house. I was going to take a shower, but I didn't. I ran out of time. I did laundry, and then I left the house around noon.
To go to the liquor store and the stuff for the party?
Yeah.
Okay, you went down which road you said?
I went down Trescott.
Okay.
I saw a police car there, and I just thought it's blocked, so I just turned around and drove to, I went down the rest of Centerville, went up Benton, took Benton across, went to ABC Liquors, bought the bourbon.
I'm a little confused. You're up on Centerville Road. What's your purpose of driving down Trescott?
It's usually the shortcut to get to Monroe.
To get to Monroe?
I usually take it as a cut through to get to Thomasville or Monroe.
Okay, all right, so
I don't know why I said Monroe. I was thinking Mosaic, Monroe, Thomasville.
Okay, so when you come down into town on Centerville?
I almost always cut through Trescott.
Trescott and just drive by your old house?
Well, I do it as a way of like coming to terms with a divorce, but yeah, sometimes I drive there. If I'm too sad, I drive around.
Okay.
If the kids aren't home and I know they're not home, I feel better about driving by the house, but yeah, it's shorter and I just usually drive by.
It's shorter than going all the way down to Benton?
All the way down Centerville and around Benton. It's just
Right.
a shortcut I always took.
Okay, so you turned around and went back to Centerville, I take it?
Yeah.
Down to Benton, and went to the liquor store down there on Thomasville?
Yeah.
The one at Benton Road?
ABC Liquors, it's at, Benton. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, did you make a purchase there?
Yeah,
And that was sometime after 12?
probably 12:30.
Okay, all right.
And I talked to a guy there because I don't really buy much alcohol, and so they wanted bourbon, and I asked the guy, we had a whole conversation about bourbon and
Right.
my eyes, like,
Your eyes?
he just said, your eyes are really blue,
Right.
and
You have contacts?
I do.
Okay.
But I just remembered it.
Right.
So I bought the bourbon and got some gas on Thomasville and met my friends at Mosaic.
Which gas station did you go to on Thomasville?
The one that's, I always forget the name, but the one that's close to the cross street, it's right next to the Goodwill.
Okay.
If you're heading north on Thomasville, if you're heading north on Thomasville, it's on your right.
Okay, just past the Goodwill
Just
place?
past the Goodwill, it's close to the intersection there.
Okay, all right, and then from that point, you went straight to the
Went to Mosaic
Mosaic restaurant?
and met friends there. I used to have kind of a steady Friday meeting, and I hadn't seen my two friends in a while. And so we had made plans to meet up.
What time did you get to Mosaic?
About 1. I was a little late. We were supposed to meet at 1, and I got there a few minutes after.
Okay, all right, I know it's cold in here. Okay.
I think that's not why I'm
Okay,
shaking.
I know it's part of it, but do you know anybody that would have a beef against your ex-husband?
He's, oh God.
I hate to ask it now, but I have to do it now. You
I
understand,
understand.
right?
I understand. He had friends. He always meant well, but he would sometimes rub people the wrong way.
Okay.
But not anyone who would do something like this.
Anybody that he owes money to?
No, he owes money to me,
He owes money to you?
but
Okay.
not me.
Okay. All right. All right.
Oh my God, we're poor kids. Oh, I know a lot of people didn't really love him, but I don't know anyone who would do something like this.
Well, we're still trying to determine, what happened and how it happened.
But he wouldn't do this to himself.
Okay.
He was a very positive person.
Okay.
He
No one that you know of or that you've spoken to recently that he's had some type of problem with or that he was concerned about?
No one that he was concerned about. I mean, we've been separated for 2 years, so I don't know,
Right.
If he had something going on, I wouldn't know about it, but, I mean, I had lost my voice earlier this week, and so we had put off this conversation about our son's school and where he was going to go, and he, I can't, I know a lot of people didn't love him, but not anyone who would, hate him.
Okay.
He meant well. Everyone that knew him
Okay.
knows that he means well, but he can be a little, argumentative.
Right.
But not, he didn't owe anyone money. He didn't do anything except work and take care of his kids. He wasn't involved in anything bad.
Okay.
I can't believe this is happening.
I know. And he was a professor at the law school, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And your divorce has been 2 years or the total separation, I'm assuming?
Total separation's been 2 years. Our divorce was finalized last summer around this time.
Okay.
He wouldn't do this to himself. He has a girlfriend now.
You know his...
Over the next several hours, a session that stretched to more than 5 hours, Wendi Adelson spoke with investigators. She was emotional. She expressed fear. She said she did not know why this would happen. But she also said something that investigators would not forget. She told them, in that room on that day, that her parents had more reason to dislike Danny than almost anyone else. And she mentioned that her brother Charlie had once made a joke that he had looked into hiring a hitman for her ex-husband, but it was cheaper to just buy her a new television. She presented it as a joke. A tasteless, dark joke from a protective older brother. But the details she volunteered, unprompted, on the day her ex-husband was shot, would echo in courtrooms for the next 11 years. There's a question that has circled this case since the very beginning. If Wendi Adelson knew something, if she had any advanced knowledge of what was being planned, would she really have sat in that police station for over 5 hours without a lawyer and talked? Would she really have named her brother? Would she really have offered that information freely? Those who believe she had no knowledge say, absolutely not. No one who knew what was coming would walk voluntarily into a police interrogation and hand investigators a thread to pull. But those who question her role say something else entirely. They say, what better way to get ahead of the story than to be the one who tells it first? Here is what we know. On the morning Dan Markel was shot, Wendi Adelson was at home, waiting for a repair technician to fix a broken television. The same television her brother Charlie had given her as a divorce present. The same television, he said, was cheaper than hiring a hitman. She had an alibi, a documented, prearranged alibi. And later, evidence would emerge suggesting that alibi had been carefully constructed. But we will get to that. Stay with me. Before we go any further, let us establish something important. Wendi Adelson is not, by any measure, a simple person. She is an attorney, a clinical law professor, the director of medical legal partnership at Florida State University's College of Law, a child advocate, an immigration lawyer who has spent her professional life representing some of society's most vulnerable people. By every institutional measure, she is credentialed, accomplished, and widely regarded as sharp. In court proceedings related to this case, the description of Wendi Adelson as exceptionally intelligent was raised directly in testimony. The following clip captures a moment in which that label was applied to her in an official courtroom setting.
Now I want to talk about your knowledge and your belief on this. You're smart. person, right?
How am I supposed to answer that?
Well, let's go through your resume. You went to Brandeis University, right?
I did.
You graduated magna cum laude.
I did.
If you could explain to the jury what that means.
It means I studied a lot and got good grades.
It means, and to speak, I'm from the Northeast. My Boston accent may give it away. It means you're wicked smart, right?
That's very
You had a
nice
high
of you.
GPA, a very high GPA.
I work hard.
You also went and you got a master's degree from the University of Cambridge.
I did.
You were a Gates Scholar.
I was.
You then go to the University of Miami School of Law, which is a top-tier law school, Tier 1, right?
Okay.
Right? We're talking about your level of intelligence. You went to the University of Miami Law School, right?
I did, yes.
You also clerked at the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals, right?
I did.
Now, to get a clerkship out of law school, it's a very difficult thing to do, right?
It's challenging.
You have to have top grades. You have to go through a rigorous selection process, right?
Yes.
You then become a professor at the Florida State University College of Law, right?
Yes.
You're also a published author. Right.
Now you're just embarrassing me.
This case everywhere. You'd agree with me on that, right?
I've been advised by my lawyer not to read it.
All right. Now, we're not talking about reading stuff. There's podcasts,
Also not to listen.
TV shows,
Also not to watch.
articles.
Don't read.
And so you've made the decision. Now, you're a lawyer yourself too, right?
I am.
And you made the decision, I'm not going to look at any of this stuff.
Correct.
I don't want to know what happened to the father of my 2 children.
Not I don't want to know what happened.
How can you say you love those boys if you don't care who killed the father that they loved?
You also have a separate obligation as an attorney to tell the truth, right?
Of course.
Okay.
I don't believe that I did.
You did not.
I don't remember doing that, no.
No further questions.
I don't remember exactly the timeline of that.
Okay, thank you.
Lawyers, yeah. I honestly don't remember.
Now hold that thought, because intelligence in this case is not a simple thing. It never is in cases like this. Intelligence can be a shield. It can be a strategy. It can mean you're better at telling a coherent story, better at managing your emotional presentation, better at knowing what to say, and equally important, what not to say. When the jury foreperson in Donna Adelson's trial was asked about Wendy's possible involvement, she did not say Wendy was innocent. She said, she insulated herself from the co-conspirators way too well. She plays dumb so well. Way too well. That phrase will sit with you if you let it. For 2 years after Dan Markel's death, the Tallahassee community grieved. Investigators worked quietly, and no arrests were made. The Adelson family issued statements through lawyers proclaiming that none of them had anything to do with Dan's murder. They called the suspicion directed at them a fanciful fiction. Then, in the summer of 2016, everything changed. Investigators have been following a trail of phone records, GPS data, rental car receipts, and financial transactions. They identified 2 men from Miami, Sigfredo Garcia and Luis Rivera. Both had extensive criminal histories. Garcia was the alleged shooter. Rivera was the driver of that light-colored Toyota Prius the neighbor had spotted leaving the scene. Rivera, facing a life sentence, eventually agreed to cooperate with investigators. He pleaded guilty to second-degree murder and confessed everything. He said he was paid $35,000 for his role. He said the motive was connected to a custody dispute, and he named the connection between his crew and the Adelson family, a woman named Catherine Magbanua. Magbanua had Mother Garcia's 2 children. She had also been romantically involved with Charlie Adelson, and she had been on the payroll of the Adelson family dental practice, the Adelson Institute, with no clear record of any work being performed. The practice had also helped cover other personal expenses for her. The money flowed. The connections ran deep. The chain of evidence eventually led to Charlie Adelson, who was arrested in April 2022. A critical piece of evidence was an FBI sting operation in which an undercover agent approached Donna Adelson with an article about Markel's murder, wrote a phone number and a dollar amount on it, and mentioned Magbanua's name. Donna's first call after the encounter was to Charlie. They discussed blackmail and payment. The FBI recorded every word. Charlie Adelson was convicted in November 2023 and sentenced to life in prison plus 60 years. His mother, Donna Adelson, was arrested that same week at Miami International Airport, trying to board a one-way flight to Vietnam, a country with no extradition treaty with the United States. 5 people connected to this crime are now convicted and serving time. And through every arrest, every trial, every conviction, one name has hovered at the edge of the storm. Before we get into Wendy's court testimony, there is a detail in this story that you need to sit with, because it is extraordinary, and it is documented. In 2011, 3 years before Dan Markel was shot, and 2 years before their divorce was finalized, Wendi Adelson published a novel, a fiction novel. It was titled This Is Our Story. On the surface, it is a story about human trafficking, following the lives of young immigrant women who were exploited and victimized in the American Southeast. The subject matter is consistent with Wendy's professional focus on immigration law and advocacy. No one disputes that. But there is another character in the book, a lawyer named Lily. And Lily is stuck. She is a lawyer living in a small North Florida town, the kind of place that is not where she imagined herself. She is there because of her husband's career. She feels trapped. She feels like her life is being lived on someone else's terms. In courtroom testimony, the subject of this novel came up directly. The following clip captures the moment Wendi Adelson addressed questions about her fictional book and its character, a moment that became one of the most discussed sequences of the entire trial.
And is that the only book you've written, or have you written more than one book?
I've only written one book.
What was the book about?
The book was about human trafficking and about the vulnerabilities that lead to trafficking, the problems when it occurs, and basically how to recover from it after.
Where was the book set?
It was set in a fictional town.
What was the name of the fictional town?
Hiawassee Springs.
So Hiawassee. Is it located in the panhandle of Florida?
No, I used to see the name when I was driving from Tallahassee to Orlando, so it's somewhere in between.
And was the place modeled after Tallahassee?
It was definitely somewhere in Florida, but not supposed to be about Tallahassee, no.
Who was the central character in that book?
So there's 3 central characters. One was one of my clients, kind of a composite character from Eastern Europe. One was kind of a composite character of many clients I represented from Latin America, and one was a public interest lawyer.
And was the public interest lawyer Lily?
Yes.
And is that the character that was sort of based after yourself?
No, really more based after a friend of mine.
And was Hiawassee, Florida, quote, just a small stop on the way back to what we had previously known as civilization? Is that a quote from your book?
That sounds like a quote from my book, yeah.
And who's the husband of Lily, the public interest lawyer?
You want his name in the book?
Yes.
I think it was Josh Stone.
All right, and what was Josh's employment?
Josh was an English professor.
I'm sorry, what was your answer?
Josh was an English professor.
A professor, where did he teach?
It's been a while. I wrote the book over 10 years ago. I don't remember what I named the university in the
North
story.
Florida State University?
That sounds right.
NFSU?
NFSU sounds right, yeah.
All right, and in the book, does Lily lament, quote, we moved to this godforsaken place for Josh's career?
Yes, that sounds like a line Lily would say.
All right. When you looked at page 187 of the divorce document on cross, and I'll hand that back to you. This is actually my copy. Just turn back to 187. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. 1. Do you see the quote that you read previously from that page?
I don't.
Okay. It had to do with, let's see if I can find it. That you were very unhappy in the marriage. I think it's the third paragraph there.
I see that line.
Okay, the wife has been very unhappy in the marriage and files her petition for dissolution of marriage in August 2012. The husband continues to characterize this as abandonment, and then it goes on to say that he had been disparaging you to some of the folks at the law school. Do you remember reading that?
I do.
Was that intended to be the place in this binder where you allege emotional abuse by your husband?
I mean, I think it's emotionally abusive to suggest somebody has mental health issues.
Okay. What is the Prof's blog? You were asked about that on cross.
Yeah, it was a blog that Danny started with some of his colleagues to kind of promote community in the law professor world.
And who reads the Prof's?
Probably
Prof's blog?
other law professors and people interested in becoming law professors.
Who is on the Crim Prof listserv?
I don't know.
Were you on the listserv for that Prof's blog?
I may have been on the listserv at some point.
Do you remember seeing the post that you were shown on cross?
I do.
And the post says something about Danny and I are planning to attend a conference that will begin Sunday, July 20th. Is there any other information on what you were shown about Dan's travel plans post-murder other than that?
I'm sorry, can you please repeat the question?
The post says Danny and I guess it's another professor writing this thing. Danny and I are planning to attend a conference that will begin Sunday, July 20th. Is that the type of information that he would typically have on something like the Prof's blog or Facebook?
That sounds right.
Okay, but as far as the date he's leaving, the flight he's on, that kind of stuff, would that typically be on the Prof's blog?
He wouldn't put what flight number he was on, but he would almost always communicate when he was going on a trip.
Okay, so going to a conference that starts July 20th might be an example.
Flying to New York tomorrow would be an example,
Okay.
but not a flight number.
But he didn't put flying to New York tomorrow on this occasion?
No.
You were referenced several times, not on direct examination by the state, but by your brother's attorney on cross as a co-conspirator. Are you charged in this case?
No.
This isn't your trial, is it?
No.
Is your brother charged with conspiring with you to do a murder?
No.
Is he charged with conspiring with you to plan a murder?
No.
Is he charged with soliciting you to do a murder?
No.
Who is he charged with doing those things with?
I don't think anyone.
Have you had an opportunity to review his indictment in this case?
I have not.
I'll give you an opportunity to take a look at that document to yourself. Who is your brother alleged to have done these crimes with?
Catherine D. Magbanowa.
Were you on the wire in this case, Ms. Adelson?
No.
So when the bump happened, are you familiar with the event I'm referencing as the bump?
I am now.
When law enforcement approached your mother on the street and handed her a piece of paper?
Yes.
Okay, when that occurred, who did your mother call?
I don't know.
Not you, right?
Not me.
Okay. And once your brother found out about the bump, did he call you about it?
No.
Who did he call?
I don't know.
Well, you listened to the calls to authenticate the voices, didn't you?
Just to hear the voices, not to hear the content of the calls.
Okay. And the voices were your brother's voice, right?
But I listened to the calls just to hear who was on them, so I don't know what content they're referencing.
I heard your answer. My question to you now is, your brother's voice was on the calls.
He was on some of the calls I listened to.
Your mother's voice was on the calls.
She was on some of the calls I listened to.
Did you have any secret meetings with your brother post bump that happened in South Florida?
No.
You were asked about Jeffrey Lacoste and the way that your relationship ended. What is OkCupid?
OkCupid is a dating website.
Were you on that dating website?
I was.
Were you on that dating website at the time that you were dating Mr. Lacoste?
No, I wasn't.
And were you speaking, so I guess if you weren't on it, you weren't speaking to multiple men from the website during the time you were dating Mr. Lacoste. And I'll remind you that you provided your phone in this case, and it was cell-brighted, downloaded.
Objection, argument.
Wendy has maintained firmly that the character of Lily was not autobiographical. She testified that Lily was based on a friend, not herself. Her defense attorneys noted that the book was published in 2011, before the relocation request was denied in 2013, before things reached their most bitter point. But prosecutors told a different story. They pointed to emails from Wendy around the same period, in which she expressed how desperately important it was for her to move to South Florida, how stuck she felt in Tallahassee, how much she needed to be near her family. They argued that the book, this novel written by a woman who felt trapped in a marriage, in a city, in a life that was not her own, was not just fiction. They argued it was a window. And here is the question the book leaves hanging in the air. Not an accusation, but a question that has circled this case for years. When an author writes a character who feels precisely what they themselves have expressed feeling, at what point does fiction stop being just fiction? Now let us talk about July 18th, 2014. The morning of the murder. Because what was happening in Wendi Adelson's life on that particular morning is not incidental. It is central. According to Wendy's account, consistent across multiple police interviews and multiple trials, she was at home that morning, waiting for a Geek Squad technician to repair a broken television. The television her brother Charlie had given her as a divorce present. The same TV he referenced in what she called his hitman joke. The technician came. The television could not be fixed. Wendy then ran errands and later met friends for lunch at a restaurant in Tallahassee. That is where police found her just hours after her ex-husband was shot across town. Now, here is what investigators found notable. The television, the technician visit, the alibi, all of it appeared to be organized. Jeff Lacoste, Wendy's ex-boyfriend, the man who dated her in 2013 and 2014, gave testimony that adds a devastating dimension to this period. Lacoste testified that just days before the murder, Wendy asked if she could tell him something in confidence. And then she told him that her brother Charlie had looked into all options possible to take care of the Dan Markel problem, including hiring a hitman. He testified she was serious, that this was not a joke, that she appeared to genuinely be sharing something she had been carrying. And then Markel was murdered days later. Lacoste's testimony went further. Prosecutors noted that in the days leading up to the murder, Wendy had been asking Lacoste specifically about his travel plans for July 18th. The prosecutor pointed out that his intended route that day was consistent with the route the killers used to leave Tallahassee. And Wendy had been asking him about it. Lacoste testified that he came to believe the Adelson family may have been positioning him as a potential suspect. Let that settle. A woman, days before her ex-husband is shot, tells her boyfriend that her brother has looked into hiring someone to remove him. Then her ex-husband is shot. Then she spends 5 hours with police, without a lawyer, and names her brother. Then she's sitting at home with a documented alibi. And then her mother's text message, years later, reads, "Your brother protected you for years." Is this a woman who knew nothing? Or is this a woman who knew exactly how to make sure she was the last one standing? Before we go any further into the courtroom, let us go back to the most raw moment of this entire case. The moment before anyone had a story to tell. Before lawyers were called. Before testimony was rehearsed. Before 11 years of legal proceedings began to shape and reshape the narrative. Let us go back to the 911 call. The following audio is the 911 call placed by a neighbor of Dan Markel's on the morning of July 18th, 2014, after hearing gunshots coming from the garage of Markel's home on Trescott Drive. This is the unfiltered moment, before anyone knew the full scope of what had happened, or what it would eventually reveal. Play the audio in full before continuing the narration.
911, what's the address of your emergency location? Okay, tell me exactly what happened.
We heard and looked in, the garage door was up, and I thought the gentleman was backing out, and I went back to my house, but he never backed out, and I came back over, and his driver's side window is shattered, and he's battered and can't answer. He's inside. I don't know if somebody tried to shoot him or if he shot himself or what. I don't know. He didn't send an ambulance in a hurry. An EMT. He's still alive. He's moving.
Okay, what's going on with him?
I don't know. The driver's side window is all bashed in, and he's got blood all over his head. He's not responding to me. I think you need to hurry.
Yeah, I'm going to get him on the way to you. I just want to ask you a few questions, okay?
Go ahead, but send them as you're asking.
Yes, sir. They're already on the way, okay? Are you with him now?
I'm standing right outside the garage door.
Can you tell me how old he is?
I don't know. He looks like maybe 35 or 40.
Hang on 1 second for me, okay?
Okay.
All right, sir. I apologize about that. What was how old is the patient again? I'm sorry.
I can't tell. He looks maybe 35 or 40. I don't know.
Okay. And is he awake?
He's just moving his head around, but he's not responding. I've called his name, asked what's going on, or not called his name, but asked him what's happening. He's not responding to that, but his head's kind of rolling around.
Okay. Is he conscious?
Well, I can't tell.
Okay. Is he breathing?
I can't tell that. I'm assuming he's breathing if he's moving his head around.
Did you ever hear him talk or anything?
No.
Okay. You said he's sitting in the car, right?
Correct, in the driver's seat.
Okay. Where exactly is he? In the driver's seat? You know,
in the driver's seat.
Is he in the garage or?
In the garage.
Okay. Can you direct the emergency crews to him, sir?
Sure.
Okay. All right, I'm sending the paramedics to help you now. Just stay on the line. I'll tell you exactly what to do next.
Okay.
If it's safe to do so, see if he is conscious and breathing or moving at all, okay?
It's not safe for me to do. I don't want to put my hand in here.
Okay. Well, help's on the way.
Okay.
All right.
I'll be standing by. And I've heard about break-ins in the area, and so I decided to walk over and take a look. And the garage door was up and asked him what was happening. And then I saw the window was shattered, and he's got blood. I'm going to be over here waiting for the EMT, honey. Okay, go ahead, but just tell the kids to hold on inside. They're okay. But tell them I'm out here.
All right, just stay on the line with me for now, okay, sir?
Okay,
I got him on the way to you.
Very good. I'm standing at the street, so if I see him coming down the street, I can direct him right in.
So he won't respond to you at all?
Not to me.
Holler at him or anything?
Yeah, he didn't respond, but his head kind of moving around.
Okay.
But I've walked away from the car right now. I'm standing at the street, so.
And he's?
No.
Okay.
He's inside. The window's shattered. The garage door was up.
Okay.
Where is the vehicle dispatched from?
I'm not sure. Give me a second. I'll try to see where they are, okay? Is he still moving around?
I don't know. I'm standing at the street now trying to wait for your vehicle. Did you say you were checking on where it was?
Yes, sir.
Or where it's coming from?
Mm-hmm.
Where is it coming from?
I'm checking.
Okay.
Got several people on the way. Looks like one person's coming from McClay Road.
Okay, well, it may take them a while to get here then. We're close to the hospital, so.
Mm-hmm. So you're saying his head is bloody now?
Yeah, it's been bloody. I mean, it's...
Okay.
The window shattered. I don't know if he's tried to shoot himself. I don't know what the situation is.
And it's the driver's side window, correct?
That's correct. He's still moving around, so he's alive.
Okay. Looks like I should have an officer coming up the roadway.
Okay, well, we need EMT.
Well, the officer's going to be there first. They're not going to come until we figure out what's going on, but they're on the way as well, okay?
He better be if this guy's got a shot living.
Yes, sir. They're on the way as well, okay?
Yeah, it looks like could be the officer now.
Is he there?
Yeah, he's just coming up right now.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and let you go, sir, okay?
Okay, very good.
Thank you.
A man had just been shot in his garage in broad daylight. A neighbor heard it and called. And in that call, in those terrified, unscripted, unfiltered seconds, you can hear the reality of what happened to Dan Markel stripped of every narrative that would later surround it. No lawyers, no immunity deals, no carefully worded testimony, just the sound of a person calling for help for a man who was dying. That 911 call is the baseline. Everything that came after it, every account, every statement, every moment in a courtroom has to be measured against that moment. Because that moment was real. It was unmanaged. And it is the reason we are still asking questions a decade later. After that call, a man died. And then the stories began. By the time Wendi Adelson took the stand in her mother's murder trial in August 2025, she had already testified in 2 previous trials in this case. She testified in the trial of Catherine Magbanua. She testified in the trial of her own brother, Charlie Adelson. Each time, she testified under a limited immunity agreement with prosecutors, use and derivative use immunity, which meant that anything she said under oath could not be directly used against her in future proceedings. Each time, she denied any involvement in or advanced knowledge of the plot to kill her ex-husband. And each time, observers watched and questioned and watched some more. When she walked in a courtroom 3G on August 25, 2025, to testify in her mother Donna Adelson's trial, the moment was visibly charged. Donna Adelson was emotional when her daughter entered the room. The judge had to caution her against outbursts. The tension in that courtroom was unlike anything the case had produced before. What followed was some of the most closely watched testimony of the entire Dan Markel saga. The following clip captures the opening moments of Wendi Adelson's testimony in her mother's trial.
Name and spell your name.
Wendi Adelson, Wendiadelson.
Miss Adelson, where are you from?
I'm from Coral Springs, Florida.
And you live in another state now, currently, right?
I do, yes, ma'am.
All right. How are you employed?
I'm an immigration attorney.
How long have you been an attorney?
Since 2006.
And you're here pursuant to a state subpoena, is that correct?
Yes.
And that subpoena confers a type of immunity on you. Do you understand that?
I do.
Okay. Which means that nothing you say here in court pursuant to that subpoena can be used against you at a later time. Do you understand that?
I do.
Okay, but it doesn't necessarily mean you could never be prosecuted. It just means that what you say in court could not be used in any future prosecution. Do you understand that?
Yes.
All right. I want to ask you about your ex-husband, Daniel Markel. Is that a fair and accurate photo of Mr. Markel?
Yes.
When did you meet him?
We met originally online. It must have been the fall of my first year of law school, so 2003.
Okay. And when did you marry Mr. Markel?
We married in February of 2006.
Were you living in Tallahassee at some point as a married couple?
Yes.
When did you move to Tallahassee?
We moved to Tallahassee my final year of law school, so that would have been in the summer of 2005. And we were here from 2005 till 2006. We spent a year at the University of Miami from 2006 to 2007, and then came back to Tallahassee from 2007 until 2014.
All right. And during the time that you were living here in Tallahassee, did you live over on Trescott Drive?
For some of the time that we lived here, yes.
And when your first child was born, were you residing at the Trescott Drive residence at that point?
Yes.
Okay. I think I have a photo of that here. Is that the Trescott Drive residence?
Yes.
Okay. And how many children did you have with Mr. Markel?
We have 2 children.
What were their ages at the time of their father's death?
It was 10 days before my older son's 5th birthday, so he was 4 turning 5, and our younger son was 3.5. The boys are 14 months apart.
And did there come a time when you and Mr. Markel separated?
Yes.
When was the separation?
It was in the fall of 2012.
Whose decision was it to separate?
It was mine.
How did your ex take that news?
Well, we talked about it many times before it actually happened, but when the separation became official, he was very upset.
And even though there were problems and issues and discussions, it was a surprise to him when it actually happened, right?
It was.
Okay. And was part of the reason for the separation your differing views on how to raise the kids pursuant to the Jewish faith?
I'd say it was a very small part, but it was a part.
Did you consider your ex to be a religious zealot?
No, I didn't think he was a religious zealot, but I did think he was using religion as a way of controlling me.
The state's questioning walked through the entire arc of the divorce. The relocation battle, the custody fight, the emails between Wendy and her mother, the language used in those emails. Prosecutors introduced an April 2013 email in which Wendy wrote, "I hate him in this moment." And then, in the same email, "I hate that I hate my children's dad." They highlighted testimony where Wendy had used derogatory terms to describe Markel, calling him an emotional terrorist just weeks before his death. Kappelman asked Wendy directly, "At the time of Dan Markel's murder, was your mother very angry with Dan Markel?" Wendy also testified that her mother micromanaged her life, that Donna Adelson had strong fixed ideas about what Wendy's life should look like and was deeply involved in every aspect of it. Robert Adelson, Donna's estranged eldest son who had cut ties with the family years before, corroborated this from the stand. He testified that Donna operated with the understanding that if you went along, things were fine. If you did not, things are not fine. Wendy said repeatedly, "I was not involved in any plot to kill Danny." Over and over. Clearly, the story did not change, but the questions kept coming. The following clip captures a particularly tense sequence of Wendi Adelson's testimony, a direct examination by the prosecution that many legal observers noted felt less like the questioning of a cooperative witness and more like the kind of pressure you apply to a suspect. Watch how questions are framed. Watch how she responds. Watch for what she does and does not say.
It's like my parents have more reason to dislike Danny than almost anyone else. Is that what you said?
That is what I said.
And that's because he hurt you, right?
And I was saying that in the context of talking to law enforcement for hours and hours and trying to help them figure out who might be responsible.
Right. And who did you tell them might be responsible?
Well, I told them many, many people, but are you asking about this particular moment right here?
You told them your family might be responsible.
Or potentially someone to do with a former student or his current girlfriend. I mentioned lots of people that I thought could be responsible.
Okay, and of the lots of people that could have been responsible, your family was one of them.
Yep.
Because they might have done this thinking it would help you. I mean, that's what happened, right?
I'm sorry, I don't understand the question.
Your family had your ex-husband killed to try to help you, didn't they?
No, that's completely untrue.
When did you learn that Catherine Magbanoa was blackmailing your brother for the murder of your ex-husband?
Today.
So he never told you?
No.
You testified in Catherine Magbanoa's murder trial last year, didn't you?
I did, yes.
And she was convicted.
She was convicted, yes.
A crime for which she apparently is innocent because she was just a conduit for Sigfredo Garcia. Did you learn that today along with all of us?
Well, I learned that someone made that argument. I don't know whether it's true or not true.
Did your dad get any big gifts for his 70th?
I don't remember.
So there was no big lead up and discussion about some big gift that you were involved in, at least?
I don't remember.
I don't remember if I gave him a present. I hope I did.
Do you remember what anybody gave him for that birthday?
I really don't.
Was the murder of Dan Markel your dad's big gift?
I mean, that's, of course not. That's a horrible thing to say.
What about the grandchildren, getting full unfettered access to the grandchildren?
My
Could that have
parents
been
had
the
full
big gift?
unfettered access to their grandchildren, always.
You want the culpable parties held accountable for murdering the father of your children?
Absolutely. I'm grateful they're already in jail.
But not if it's your family.
It's not my family.
Somebody hired him, right?
Not necessarily.
Somebody paid him.
I learned something this morning.
Yeah, me too. You didn't want him held accountable if it was your family members. Didn't you tell law enforcement that?
That's not what I told law enforcement.
What did you tell law enforcement?
I told them that the person who did this should be held responsible and that I had nothing to do with it.
Page 122, lines 7 through 12. If somebody tried to kill my ex-husband, they should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. The investigator says regardless of who it is, and your answer is, I mean, it would be different if I thought it were my brother.
But I don't think it was my family, is what I said.
Different now, isn't it?
No, it's not different. That's exactly
Different
what I
today,
said
isn't
right
it?
here. No, that's not right.
No further questions.
There are moments in that testimony that do not feel like routine witness questioning. They feel like the quiet, careful pressure of a prosecutor waiting to see if the witness will slip. The prosecution pressed her on what she knew, on what she told police, on when she knew it, on why. On the morning her ex-husband was shot, she drove near his house, encountered police tape, and did not call him. Did not call the daycare where her children were. Just kept driving. She testified that Markel had told her his schedule that morning, so she knew what he was doing. She testified that she did not know anything was wrong. And then there was the question of her mother's text message from November 2023 after Charlie's conviction. Your brother protected you for years. Now you're not guilty. Your lawyer took very good care of you. And then everyone looks to protect you. I bet you've got a lot to think about. Wendy testified that she had not spoken to her mother since those messages were sent. Think about what it means to receive a message like that from your mother who is about to be arrested. Your mother who watched your brother be convicted, and she writes to you, your brother protected you for years. What did she mean? What needed protecting? These questions do not have clean answers, and Wendi Adelson has never been required to give them. When your own mother, facing a life sentence, sends you a message saying your brother protected you for years, and your lawyer took very good care of you, what exactly does that mean? What exactly was being protected, and from what? These are not rhetorical questions. Prosecutors brought those messages into evidence in the trial of Donna Adelson, and the jury heard them, and they convicted Donna in 3 hours. 3 hours for a case that took 11 years to reach a verdict. A case with dozens of witnesses, weeks of testimony, thousands of pages of evidence. 3 hours was all it took. That jury was not confused. That jury did not struggle. Something in the evidence made the answer clear to all 12 of them, quickly. Here is where this case becomes almost impossible to process. Because what happened next, in the cross-examination of Wendi Adelson by her mother's own defense attorneys, crossed into territory that nobody expected. Donna Adelson's defense lawyers had initially wanted to call Wendy as their own witness. Wendy had successfully fought a subpoena from the defense, with the court ruling that the immunity agreement she held with the prosecution did not extend to being called by the opposing side. So she only testified for the state. But during cross-examination, Donna Adelson's own attorney used the opportunity not simply to rehabilitate Donna's image, but to raise something far more pointed. In the following clip, watch the direction of the defense attorney's questioning and the implications that begin to surface. In a courtroom where the defendant is Donna Adelson, the defense attorney seems to suggest that perhaps the person most responsible for what happened to Dan Markel was sitting in the witness chair, not the defendant's chair.
I wouldn't say without his influence in any way, but yes, they've grown up without their father.
He's not here to give them advice.
He is not.
He can't come to any of their functions, sports, anything else.
Correct.
They're not eating kosher like they would have with their father.
They are not.
They don't have him at all.
They don't have him in their lives day to day, no.
Because on July the 18th of 2014, he was brutally murdered in his driveway. Isn't that true?
That is true.
And you testified on direct that anybody in your family that had anything to do with it should be held responsible. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
And that includes you, doesn't it?
Anyone who's responsible.
Redirect examination.
When you said you were an actor in someone else's show, whose show was it?
I think I felt like I just wasn't fully present in my own life, that I had always been a real people pleaser. And so there was an aspect of not always being true to myself and wanting to make other people happy.
And one of those people is your mom, right?
Yes.
And that's part of why you kept going with relocation, even when you kind of had some doubts about it, right?
I would say it's part of the reason.
Think carefully about what you just witnessed. Donna Adelson's own legal team. The people whose job was to defend her, standing in a courtroom and suggesting that their client's daughter bore responsibility for what happened to Dan Markel. Attorney Fulford, on cross-examination, asked Wendy to confirm that anyone who was involved in Markel's killing should be held responsible, including her. This was not the prosecution saying this. This was Donna Adelson's own defense. The strategy seemed to be create doubt about who truly sat at the center of this. Suggest that Wendy was not the innocent bystander she presented herself as. In doing so, create the possibility in the jury's mind that Donna was acting out of love and loyalty for a daughter who had wanted this outcome, rather than as the cold architect the state described. It did not work. Donna was convicted on all counts in 3 hours. But the moment left something behind. Because when your own mother's attorneys look at you across a courtroom and ask whether you should be held responsible, that does not just disappear. It floats in the air, and it stays. In the following clip, Wendi Adelson directly addresses the question that has followed this entire case. She is asked in open court whether she had any involvement in what happened to her ex-husband. Her response, the words she chooses, the composure she maintains in that charged moment. Watch carefully and form your own impression.
Were you in any way involved in the plot to kill your ex-husband?
No.
Did you maybe know it was going to happen but not know the details?
I did not know it was going to happen, and I did not know any details.
Did you provide any information, even unknowingly in hindsight, that you think could have been used to assist the murderers?
I don't think so. I didn't provide any information.
What information do you have regarding your mother's involvement in the plot to kill your ex-husband?
I don't have information.
But you do admit that your brother said he looked into hiring a hitman to kill Dan Markel.
I don't. I admit that my brother made a tasteless joke repeatedly about buying me a TV because it was cheaper than hiring a hitman.
But then someone did hire a hitman who did kill Dan Markel, right?
Yes, that happened.
Was part of the plot to kill your ex for you to have plausible deniability or to know very little about it?
I was not involved in any plot to kill Danny.
Were you shielded from the plot because, I don't know, you couldn't be trusted to keep a secret?
I was not involved in any plot to kill Danny.
Why did you tell investigator Isom in your law enforcement interview that you were worried the police, or you were worried, I guess, in the police car on the way to be interviewed, that you might be considered a suspect?
Because I couldn't think of anything bad going on in his life other than the divorce. And frequently the ex-wife is a suspect.
Were you treated as a suspect?
I was not.
But you mentioned 9 times in your law enforcement interview being a suspect, didn't you?
I did, yes.
She said it multiple times, clearly, without apparent hesitation. She said it in the trial of Magbanua. She said it in the trial of her brother Charlie. She said it in the trial of her mother Donna. And she has never been charged. That last fact matters enormously. In the American justice system, being labeled an unindicted co-conspirator is a prosecutorial designation. It does not carry the weight of a conviction or even an indictment. Wendi Adelson has denied involvement. She has not been charged. That is the legal reality of where this case stands. But there is a space, a complicated, uncomfortable space between legal reality and complete certainty. And that space is where observers continue to live. Every time she took the stand, she did so under use and derivative use immunity, meaning anything she said on the stand and any evidence found as a result of her testimony could not be used directly against her. This arrangement allowed prosecutors to obtain her testimony, but it also created a legal complexity around her that has made charging her extraordinarily difficult. Legal analyst Joe Bodiford, after Donna's conviction, said plainly, "We may not have all the evidence on Wendy. The immunity deals, the alibi, the 5-hour interview given without a lawyer on the day of the shooting, the careful navigation of 11 years of legal proceedings." Some observers look at that pattern and see a woman who knew exactly what to do and when to ensure her own survival legally. Others look at the same pattern and see a woman dragged into the shadow of something terrible that the people around her did, forced to testify again and again while the system searches for something it cannot find because it does not exist. Both interpretations are present. Neither has been settled. As Donna Adelson's trial unfolded in August and September 2025, evidence emerged that painted the interior of the Adelson family in extraordinary detail. And some of the most striking evidence involved the relationship between Donna and Wendy. There were emails, dozens of them, between mother and daughter spanning the years of the divorce and custody battle. Emails in which Donna pushed Wendy to pursue relocation at any cost. At one point, Donna suggested offering Dan Markel $1 million to agree to the relocation. She proposed splitting the cost between herself, Wendy, and Charlie. When he testified at trial that the offer was never actually made. There were emails in which Donna suggested using the children's religious upbringing as a manipulation tactic against their father, a pressure campaign designed to make the situation in Tallahassee intolerable for Markel. There were emails in which the language used to describe Dan Markel went far beyond divorce bitterness and is something that, in retrospect, reads very differently. And then there were the text messages from November 2023, sent after Charlie's conviction, before Donna's arrest. The ones in which Donna wrote to Wendy, "Your brother protected you for years. Now you're not guilty. Your lawyer took very good care of you. And everyone looks to protect you." I bet you've got a lot to think about. What does a mother mean when she writes those words to her daughter? What does protected mean in this context? Wendi Adelson testified that she and her mother had not spoken since receiving those messages, that the relationship had fractured entirely. Robert Adelson, the estranged eldest son, the one sibling who had distanced himself from the family years before Dan Markel was shot, testified for the first time in any of these trials at Donna's trial. He confirmed the portrait of Donna Adelson as a woman who demanded total loyalty. He testified that after Markel's murder, his mother's attitude about what had happened was disturbing enough that he could not maintain the relationship. He had walked away. He had stayed away. And then he walked into that courtroom in August 2025 and told the truth. There is something in that contrast that is hard to ignore. 3 Adelson children. One walked away early and testified for the prosecution. One went to prison for arranging the killing. And one, the one the family sent all of this in emotion for, is the only one still free. After Donna Adelson was convicted and sentenced to life in prison, reporters pressed State Attorney Jack Campbell. Will there be more charges? He paused. He said his office would make decisions in the coming weeks. Then he said something else. He said, "You can stay tuned." And then he walked away. Months later, Wendi Adelson has still not been charged. But the door was not closed. The investigation was not declared finished. The state attorney did not say there was nothing left to pursue. He said, "Stay tuned." In a case that took 11 years to put 5 people in prison. A case where prosecutors waited and waited and waited for evidence to solidify before acting. 2 words from the state attorney carry a weight that this community continues to feel. Stay tuned. Let us stand back now, not as accusers, not as defenders, but as observers. And let us look at the full picture this case has assembled over 11 years. A woman is locked in a custody battle with her ex-husband. Her family is furious. Her brother hires hitmen. Her mother funds the plot and orchestrates the cover-up. Both her brother and her mother are convicted of first-degree murder and serving life in prison. 2 hitmen are in prison. A go-between is in prison. 5 people, all convicted, all connected to the effort to remove one man from his children's lives and from the world. And that woman, the one at the center of the motive, has walked out of every courtroom as a free person. She testified under immunity every single time. She was identified by prosecutors as an unindicted co-conspirator. Her own former boyfriend testified that she told him days before the murder that her brother had looked into hiring someone to deal with the situation. Her mother texted her to say her brother had protected her for years. Her mother's own defense attorneys implied in open court that she should be the one held responsible. The jury foreperson, after 3 hours of deliberation that produced a unanimous guilty verdict for Donna Adelson, publicly stated that in her personal view, Wendy was involved in some way, shape, or form. And Wendi Adelson has said consistently, clearly, and repeatedly, she did not know. She was not involved. She had nothing to do with it. The law has not charged her, and the law matters. In this country, a person is innocent until proven guilty. That is not a technicality. That is the foundation of justice. The fact that Wendi Adelson has not been charged is legally significant. But here's the thing about this case that keeps drawing people back. The puzzle never fully aligns. There are pieces that fit and pieces that do not. There are answers that satisfy and questions that linger. And in the space between what the law can prove and what the totality of evidence presents, that is where this story lives. That is where Wendi Adelson lives. As of the time of this episode's release, here is where things stand. Sigfredo Garcia, convicted of first-degree murder, sentenced to life without parole. His appeals were denied in 2025. Luis Rivera pleaded guilty to second-degree murder in exchange for cooperation and testimony, receiving a reduced sentence. Catherine Magbanua, convicted at retrial, sentenced to life in prison. Appeals denied in 2025. Charlie Adelson, convicted in November 2023, sentenced in December 2023 to life in prison plus 60 additional years. His appeal is currently before Florida's First District Court of Appeal. Donna Adelson, convicted September 4th, 2025, sentenced to life in prison on October 13th, 2025. She has filed a notice of appeal and has been transferred to Homestead Correctional Institution in Miami-Dade County. Wendi Adelson, identified by prosecutors as an unindicted co-conspirator, testified under immunity in multiple trials, has consistently denied involvement, and has never been charged with any crime. State Attorney Jack Campbell, following Donna's conviction, told reporters, "You can stay tuned." The Markel family continues to wait. They have waited through 5 convictions. They have waited through appeals. They have waited through 11 years. And they're still waiting. Dan Markel's 2 sons are now teenagers. After the 2016 arrests, Wendi Adelson cut off contact between the boys and their paternal grandparents. She also changed their last names from Markel to Adelson, citing safety concerns. Dan Markel's parents have spoken about the grief of that separation, losing not just their son, but the ongoing connection to the grandchildren he loved more than anything. It is one of the quieter tragedies inside a very loud case, and it has never been resolved. Every case on this channel asks you, at some point, to sit with discomfort, because discomfort is where the truth often lives. This case asks you to hold 2 things at the same time. To hold the legal fact that Wendi Adelson has not been charged, and that in the eyes of the law, she has not been found guilty of anything. And to hold alongside that the full weight of everything the evidence contains. Every email, every testimony, every text message from her mother, every word her former boyfriend said on the stand, every question asked of her in a courtroom, and the answer she gave. The composure, the immunity, the alibi, the novel, the children's last names changed from Markel to Adelson. All of it. And then this case asks you, is the story complete? Is every piece in place? Does the picture fully align? Or is there still something out there? A decision not yet made, a charge not yet filed, a piece of evidence not yet surfaced that would change everything? Because the state attorney said, stay tuned. And the Markel family is still waiting. And somewhere in Florida, Wendi Adelson is living her life. A free woman. A woman who has denied everything. A woman who has been questioned and named and placed under extraordinary scrutiny and not charged. Only you can decide what to make of that. The law is the law, and what the law cannot yet reach, or has not yet reached, does not disappear. It waits, just like every truth that has not yet been fully told. And one more thing before you go. Ask yourself this. Of everything you just heard tonight, what is the detail that will stay with you? What is the piece that sat differently from everything else? What is the thing you will find yourself thinking about tomorrow and the day after that? Because we did not make a single accusation in this episode. We presented what is documented, what is testified to, what is on record. And the question you're sitting with right now, that unresolved, uncomfortable feeling, that is not us pushing you toward a conclusion. That is you, listening, thinking, and asking. And that is exactly what Dan Markel deserves. Someone's still asking. This has been Dark Trail Files. The case of Dan Markel is still developing. As new information emerges, charges, appeals, decisions from the state attorney's office, we will cover it here. Fully, accurately, without speculation, dressed up as fact. If this episode made you think, if it made you uncomfortable, if it made you want to look at the evidence yourself and form your own judgment, that is exactly what this channel is for. Hit subscribe. Share this with someone who needs to hear the full story. Leave a comment below. What do you think the evidence says? Let this community talk about it. Because on Dark Trail Files, we do not just cover the case, we follow it. All the way to the end, wherever that end leads. Until next time, this is Dark Trail Files.